Good afternoon. My name is Carla Lilian Saro, and I'm from Lomaiviti, and I'm currently a second-year law student. And I represent Emerging Leaders Forum 6, of 6.
So firstly, do you want to be a decision maker, and at what level or where?
Yes, I want to be a decision maker. At what level? At high level. Mostly at holding a managerial post, where possibly in a company of my own.
Did you vote in the 2014 elections?
To be honest, I didn't vote.
Would you want to say why?
Maybe because I was not that too interested in voting, because my lack of trust in the political parties.
And in the next elections, will you be voting? And what would you like your experience to be?
Yes, in the next election, I would love to vote. I'd like a more engaging informations that are being delivered by any political parties or whoever may be standing. Yeah, more civic education.
So as Parliament meets, what would you want them to do?
What I would like the government to do is not change anything about the flag, because I believe this current flag represents all Fijians, and if it's talking about symbolism, I believe that the symbolism that represents all Fijians is represented in the current flag. What I would like the government to do, is to talk more about providing health services, more health services for people in the outer areas of Viti level and Vanua level, and in the rural communities as well, and mostly to young women and mothers.
So you have touched on a bit about what you want the government to address in their budget, but would you like to specify maybe another two?
Another two I'd like the government to do more prioritize on is creating employment opportunities for youth. In the NAC database is about close to 47,000 unemployed youths in Fiji. I would want the government to be more focused on creating employment opportunities for these particular youth, because most of these youth do have degrees, do have qualifications to give back to their community and to the nation. Education.
I'm Lysana, and I'm here for Youth Jumps Mental Health, but I work with the Ministry of Health in Singapore.
Do you want to be a decision maker?
Yes.
What kind?
At the level where changes are actually being made and implemented. Yes. So I guess I would really want to penetrate the top levels. Yeah. Because it's really frustrating being at the bottom and nothing is changing.
So what was your experience of the 2014 elections?
On the election day, it went quite well. Yeah. I was in Singapore. Yeah, things went smoothly. Yeah, I thought it did.
Anything around the election day that you want to mention, or all good?
No, it was all good. I think it was after the election that different thoughts kept coming, worries and all.
So for 2018, do you want to see anything different? Maybe in the civic education, on the election day or days itself?
Yes, most definitely. I think around civic education, more young people speaking out about what they believe in. Because I think most of the civic education that I got was from the Women's Forum. And apart from that, the political parties that were going on. So more young people speaking out.
Parliament, they're going to be meeting in July. What do you think they should be talking about or doing?
Talking about young women's issues, or women's issues in general, especially on health and education.
Do you have 3 priorities you want to see? Things that actually get money in the next national budget?
Basically health. So health, I could divide that into maternal child health and mental health. Because mental health seems to be the least prioritized. And also on education.
Hi, so my name is Nandini and I am part of the Emerging Leaders Forum 6 group.
Do you want to be a decision maker?
Yes.
What kind of decision maker do you want to be?
I think I would, decision maker would start from the home, to be able to make decisions for myself, to be able to make decisions for people that are close to me. To facilitate in decision making at my workplace, to facilitate for decision making in avenues like this, the Young Women's Forum, and also as part of the Emerging Leaders Forum. So for me, a leader would start from the home, and then the practice would just end. Not end, but it would just continue in every process that I'm involved in.
Okay. So how was your experience at the 2014 elections?
2014 elections. I didn't vote in the 2040 elections because I had to change my my work, and as such that meant that I had to move from Suva to Lautoka, and then I did not have enough time to go to a polling center to change my to change the location, and as such find a polling station to vote in. So I had, at that point in time, it was very inconvenient. Had I just been allowed to vote at any center, I would have been able to, but because of the process, I wasn't able to. So not because I didn't want to, because I did register, but I wasn't able to vote because of the systems that were in place at that moment.
Okay. So given the systems that, you know, surrounded your inability to vote in 2014, what do you want to see for 2018?
2018, I'd like to see myself voting. That's for one. I would also like some of the systems to be changed where it can take into consideration the context of the people, where they're living, what are the issues, the services that are available to them, so that when we are voting, it is accessible to every citizen. It shouldn't be a hassle because it is our right to vote, to make decisions for the country. So for the systems, I mean, I think the elections office have got 4 years, and so there are other particular committees that are there to make sure that the next process will be less hassle-free and people can actually vote freely.
Okay. So with Parliament meeting next month, what do you want them to be talking about?
I would want them to talk about health services. I'd want them to talk about how health services is not accessible to women in the rural areas, women in the interior, outer areas, maritime areas. I would want them to actually come up with some initiative and make admissions to have an increase in the 2016 budget to ensure that women, when they're talking about women's inclusion in the budget, they're talking not only just to include the budget for the Ministry of Women, Social Welfare and Poverty, but to ensure that there's accessibility. And for this, I think the Parliament really needs to look at the systems we have in place. How is it affecting people in their communities? What is being done? What are the issues that are underlying there? How are they trying to work on it? Identify it, work on those issues, try and implement systems where we can have a system where it's streamlined, people are included in decision making, and as such to be able, that should contribute to the 2016 increase in budget.
Okay, so speaking of the budget, while you have health is obviously one of your
Yes.
priorities, do you have two others that you'd like to mention?
Okay, another thing I'd like to mention would be education. My work involves going to a lot of people in their communities, and what I've noticed is that a lot of people still, while we still have free education and free bus fare vouchers and meals, people still cannot be able to access a good quality education. While we talk about quantity, there's always the topic of the quality. So when we're talking about education, again, we need to break down the barriers. We need to look at what are the underlying issues. How can everybody be able to access quality education? In particular, people living with disabilities. I believe we don't have enough systems and structures in place. They only go to a certain level. Can they attain a degree in a university? Things like that. We need to consider it. Where it is, because education, it's everyone's right. So we shouldn't be able to discriminate somebody or stop somebody from further enhancing their education due to those barriers. Third one, yes, this is something which I firmly believe in. I think there should be an increase. The budget should address spaces for women to be able to come and dialogue. While we say that, while we have the National Council of Women and these other bodies, we have to think about every woman, you know, young women, older women, women living with disability, a pregnant mother, or things that we need, elderly citizen, we need to consider all of these things. We need to have platforms for them to voice their opinions. Now, we can't do this without resources. And resources, we mean money. We need to be able to invest so that these voices are heard, so that when we are making changes at the national level, it's not the changes that someone just popped out of thin air. We are reflecting the way we are living every day. We are addressing those issues. So there is a need to invest for women, for platforms for women to be able to dialogue on a much greater level.
I'm Neha, full name Neha Nikitala, and I'm originally from Nandi, but based in Suva now. It's been 5 years I'm in Suva.
So first and foremost, do you want to be a decision maker?
Yes.
So what kind of decision maker do you want to be?
Well, we are already decision makers at home, so basically I would like to move a step ahead and be a decision maker nationally actually. I see myself somewhat maybe in a parliament or in a ministerial post where I can make decisions for the best of the country.
Okay, so tell me about your experience of the 2014 election.
It was quite a simple, not that complicated experience. So it was a good experience about the voting thing, but the system was not that good, I would say. So I was not so encouraged to vote, but had to vote. But this was my first vote where I was not so happy voting.
So for 2018, what do you want voting to be like?
Firstly, I see myself as a candidate in 2018, and secondly, I see the election to be fair enough, not biased the way it was in 2014.
So Parliament's going to be meeting next month. What do you want them to be talking about or figuring out?
Firstly, they should first plan to keep their Parliament in order. I think it's quite messy at the moment, and the issues which they should focus on, I think, is health and education, as well as infrastructure. I think there are a lot of roads are being built, but I think it's unnecessary building. Where it has to be built, it's not being built, and where it's needed, no consideration is given. So I urge them to look into that.
Okay. And lastly, what are your top 3 national budget priorities for next year?
Yeah, top 3 budget would be obviously education, health, and infrastructure.
Bulavinaka, my name is Damon Rama, and I'm part of the Emerging Leaders Forum 2015, F6.
Do you want to be a decision maker at what level or where?
I want to be a decision maker in all aspects of life, in everything that takes place in our local government as well as national government.
How was your experience of voting last year?
My experience with voting was quite interesting and also liberating, as I finally had an opportunity to have the power of electing a government that I wanted, to raise our issue and to be the voice of community.
So what do you want your 2018 experience to be like?
In 2018, I would like more trans women to feel to be more active in having to participate in national election.
As Parliament meets, what do you want them to do?
I would like Parliament to raise issues that are my concern and that we will later be lobbying or raising in the community.
What are your 3 national budget priorities?
I think my 3 national priorities would be on education, women and poverty alleviation, as well as on youth.